The Student Progression, Promotion, and Grading Handbook, commonly referred to as the SPP&G, is a one-stop resource for everything that you need to know about grading policies. It also outlines how students are promoted and their progress through their learning experience at JCPS. Many of these policies are rooted in state regulation and policy. The SPP&G is reviewed and revised yearly by a committee and is then approved by the Jefferson County Board of Education. In this video, we will review some basic information about each level of SPP&G for teachers, students, families, and administrators. Each book opens with a common mission, vision, and core values, as well as board policies that impact the SPP&G. One important section of the handbook is information about grading and gradebook setup. In JCPS, we have a uniform philosophy of grading explained in the elements of academic grades. Though the founding principles of grading are consistent, details about the grading windows and overall calculation changes by grade level. For example, elementary teachers and students are on 4 9-week grading cycles, where middle and high schools are currently using 6-week grading periods. Details will be reviewed in each grade level section in this video. The SPP&G at each level also reviews how students progress and transition from grade to grade and level to level. It is important that teachers, students, and families and administrators review these policies when updated annually. In the elementary version, teachers and administrators should pay close attention to the elements of academic grades section, which is on page 7. This specifies the percentages of each category that are to be utilized in determining students' grades. Specifically, no more than 20% of a student's grade can be counted from the engagement category, no more than 30% from the progression category, and no more than 70% from the mastery category. Teachers must use all 3 categories, and no one assignment can account for more than 1/3 of an entire category. It is expected that all teachers utilize the specifications that are in the SPP&G handbook for grading practices. Page 8 and 9 continue with more information regarding grading. The next section, recently updated in the handbook, details procedures for primary program early admission, promotions, early exit, and additional time. Also included in this section, you can find specifics regarding intermediate student progression, retention and promotion, and early exit. It is important that the procedures are followed within the section to ensure the policies are implemented with fidelity. Another important section in the elementary SPP&G handbook is a focus on the appeals process for grades and the actions noted for primary and intermediate students. Teachers and administrators must be fully informed of the timelines noted in this section, as well as the procedures for appeals. New this year is information regarding equitable access to information for parents and the school's responsibility to provide translations, names and addresses for appeals, and access to email in these processes. Also new this year is an appeal process in place for promotions, as well as extra time or retention. On page 14, considerations for exceptional child education students and English language learners are included. The state regulations for exceptional child education program students are included and must be strictly followed to adhere to the laws supporting diverse learners. The elementary version has several forms included to be utilized and a glossary of terms in the last section of the handbook. Note that on the forms, Writing Portfolio Complete has now been replaced with Digital Portfolio Complete to align with our Backpack of Success Skills initiative. As the Jefferson County Board of Education approved document, all school staff are required to comply with the procedures that are in the document. Please direct questions regarding the elementary SPP&G to your school administrators. The middle school version of the SPP&G has updates in the elements of academic grades section on page 8 and 9. This specifies the percentages of each category that are to be utilized in determining students' grades. Specifically, no more than 20% of a student's grade can be counted from the engagement category, no more than 30% from the progression category, and no more than 70% from the mastery category. Teachers must use all 3 categories, and no one assignment can account for more than 1/3 of an entire category. It is expected that all teachers utilize the specifications that are in the SPP&G handbook for grading practices. More information about grading, including conduct grades and reporting, are on page 9. The next section explains how students progress and transition from grade to grade in middle school. Page 10 in the handbook specifically highlights that JCPS students must pass a minimum of 2/3 of courses taken to progress annually, as well as assessment information. For students struggling in their studies, JCPS provides many supports to accelerate learning, some of which are listed on page 11. The appeals to retention decisions can be found on page 13 for middle school students and families. Something else exciting for middle school students and families is that middle school students can earn high school credits before actually transitioning to high school. The details on how students can access high school credits in middle school, as well as the pathways to early high school graduation, can be found on page 12. Information for special populations like exceptional child education programs, advanced programs, and English language learners can be found on pages 14 and 15. As a Jefferson County Board of Education approved document, all school staff are required to comply with the procedures in this document. Please direct questions regarding the middle school SPP&G to your school administrators. The high school version of the SPP&G contains the same type of information about grading and promotion as the other levels, but specifics for high schools. The first section, beginning on page 9, details how students progress from grade to grade, as well as the graduation requirements. For example, high school promotion is based on how many credits students earn in a given school year. The biggest change to the 2019-2020 SPP&G handbook is the addition of the new Kentucky minimum graduation requirements, which impact this school year are freshmen for the first time. In addition to the 22 credits required, students in the 2023 cohort will need to meet one of 8 graduation qualifiers, which are detailed on pages 9 through 11. It is also possible to graduate ahead of your cohort. JCPS offers 2 main paths to early graduation, which are outlined on pages 12 and 13. The next section explains grading and transcripts for high school students. If you are new to high school, you should know that grading is cumulative from the start to the end of the credit term. This means that the progress grades that you earn along the way are snapshots in time of your grade. Details on high school grading and terms can be found on page 15. Transcripts are official school documents that list all the high school courses taken, as well as credits earned, attendance rates, and other educational related information. For students entering JCPS from a school outside of the district, page 17 details how your records will be reviewed for placement and progress towards graduation requirements. Teachers and administrators should pay close attention to the elements of academic grades section on page 16. This specifies the percentage of each category that can be utilized in determining students' grades. Specifically, no more than 20% of a student's grade can be counted from the engagement category, no more than 30% from the progression category, and no more than 70% from the mastery category. Teachers must use all 3 categories, and no one assignment can account for more than 1/3 of an entire category. It is expected that all teachers utilize the specifications that are in the SPP&G handbook for grading practices. Finally, the SPP&G also provides information about academic support options available at many schools across the district. That's on page 20. It also defines learning opportunities like work-based learning and what it means to be transition ready. With the district's focus on transition readiness, this information is critical for student progression. Information and requirements about our special populations can be found on pages 22 and 23. As a Jefferson County Board of Education approved document, all school staff are required to comply with the procedures that are in the document. Please direct questions regarding the high school SPP&G to your school administrators. Thank you for watching, and we hope this provides further clarity about the SPP&G handbook.